if we really want to step up, if we really want to be on the right track. You know, so we probably need to do a video like that, you know, or do a teaching like that. What is God? Who is God? I'm talking about this word God. You know, a lot of folks don't want to even get past that word God. And if they're not getting past that word God, how can they get to the true one that they are calling God? You know, or falsely calling God. So the first question you got to ask about that word God is, what did Moses think if he ever heard that word God? And did Moses ever hear the word God before? Did Abraham ever hear the word God? Did David ever hear the word God? Did Jesus Christ, Jesus Christus, Yahoshuwa, Yeshua, did he ever hear the word God? What did he think? First of all, when Moses heard the word God, it was an idol, God. You understand? God, God, it was an idol, God. You know, either idol or tribe of Israel. You understand? In the sense of Gad, the tribe, or God, the tribe of Israel meant troop. But in the sense of the so-called heathen, the word God or God, it meant fortuna. And you read that in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah tells you all about it, if you would get past the English. But a lot of folks don't want to get past the English, so they're trusting the English or the King James to be an accurate interpreter for the one that they call God. But King James is not an accurate interpreter, because everywhere else in the Bible they translate the names as close to the names. Some places not, but in a lot of places they translate Abraham. You understand? Abraham is Abraham. You know, Yaakov is Jacob. Yisahak is Isaac. Moshe or Muse is Moses. So all that's close. But then Yahweh and Elohim is Lord God. That's not close. So right there, that tells you that somebody's pulling the wool, the proverbial wool over your eyes. So a lot of these folks, they want to talk about, well, is Haile Selassie is God, or Haile Selassie is not God? Did Haile Selassie deny he's Christ? Did he deny he's God? His Majesty declared who he is and what will happen. And that's exactly what happened. You understand? That is exactly who he is. You understand? But the thing that we as Rastafari and we as Ethiopian and the Hebrews and diaspora have to do is to get to our own roots. We got to study our own roots. We got to know our own roots. And we got plenty of time to do it. But instead we kind of waste our time, people wasting time on other issues that really are meaningless. You know, arguing about an English translation instead of studying and learning, studying and showing ourselves approved and getting to the root and getting to the truth. So we don't really try to get into that kind of a question, you know, like, or get on that kind of a issue, you know, that endless debate kind of an issue about, is Haile Selassie God? You understand? The question is what Edward Uhlendorf, the translator of Haile Selassie's autobiography, book 1, what he said on that Devil's Advocate program that tried to slander and misinterpret Rastafari and misinterpret Haile Selassie. When they asked Edward Uhlendorf, they said, do you believe Haile Selassie is God? And what did Uhlendorf say? Uhlendorf said, what is God? You know what I'm saying? What is God? You know what Uhlendorf was saying is, define for me what you mean by God. You understand? By God. First of all, the creator of heaven and earth and the seas and all that is therein, his name is not God. You understand? His name is not God. His name is not Lord or Lord. You understand? That's the first thing you need to understand. And if you don't want to understand that, then you're lost in translation. You know, so God, lost in translation. Lord, lost in translation. Abraham, okay, Abraham. You want to say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? The question is, did Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, did they recognize that word, that sound, God? You understand? And what did that word, that sound, God, mean to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? What did that idea connotate to their mind? One thing we know for sure is that when the prophet Isaiah or Isaiah or Yeshayahu, when he heard that name God, he identified that name with an idol. You understand? With an idol. And that idol is known as Fortuna You understand? Or fortune. Fortune favors the brave. You know, you've probably heard that expression before. But it's right there in Isaiah's prophecy in the 60th chapter. Right? When you get to the 60th chapter, I think 61 or thereabout, you understand? He actually has a whole section where he's talking about these idols that the people have forsaken the Almighty for. And now the name of those idols, one of the idols, God, has now become the replacement theology. So this modern Christianity, Judaism, and probably to a good extent Islam as well, but definitely Christianity and Judaism, as we have it, as we have received it, or as it has been forced on us or enforced on us, is a replacement theology. So modern Christianity, modern Judaism, you understand, it's all dealing with replacement. They replace the name of Yahweh from the Hebrew, you understand, or YHWH, because there's a debate about how the name is really pronounced, you know, among people who don't even speak the Hebrew or don't even understand how the ancient archaic Hebrew was spoken, you understand. So they replace the name of YHWH with Lord, you understand, or Jehovah, you understand, and there's no V in Hebrew, but anyway, be that as it may, no J either. And they replace the name of Elohim, you understand, with G-O-D. The very same thing that Isaiah says in his prophecy is an idol, is a demon. So when people ask you, is Haile Selassie God? You got to watch out for that, first of all. First of all, you got to just, before you ask yourself, is Haile Selassie this or that, first of all, find out what's the real God, or what's the real question mark that's called God. You know, find out what that's all about. If you find out what that's all about, then you probably get on the road. You really get on the road to recovery. You know what I mean? You get on the road to recovery of the true so-called theology, or the true teaching, as we say, the true teachings of His Imperial Majesty. But everything else dealing with that issue is just a debate. You understand? It's just a debate, and it's inconclusive. All those arguments that people try to present from those points of view are all inconclusive. You understand? Either they're based on a little bit of information, sometimes accurate, most times not accurate, or they're based on feelings and emotions. People putting out these things based on feelings or emotion. Either they like this or they don't like that. They found out get some information, they put it out, they act like it came from on high, like this is a revelation of the Almighty. But yet in the Almighty's revelation, or in the Bible, it tells you to watch out for that word God. You understand? And you should already watch out for that word Lord. You understand? Who are they talking about when they say the Lord? The Lord God. The Lords of London? The Lords of London is more God than the Lord God they're talking about, because they're blaspheming His name. And throughout the Bible it says, His name, my name is continually blasphemed. You understand? And that the Almighty blames His own people, the lost sheep, who we are descendants of, for that blasphemy, because we set His name aside and went after the gods of the heathen, or the so-called deities and idols and idolatries and ideologies of the heathen. Just like it was then, so it is now. You know, so that's exactly where you would begin. You know, because all this other kind of chicka and this other kind of debate is like the dog chasing its tail. You seen that before? You ever seen a dog chasing its tail? You know, a dog sniffing its own ass. You know, it's turning around, round and round and round. It's going round and round and round. And there it goes, round and round and round and round and round. But it's going nowhere. It's turning around and around, you know. If there's some dust there, at least it might make some dust. It might make a cloud. Uh-oh. People are going to think the dog is God. You know, and a lot of people do. But yeah, that's a video. We need a video on probably on that perspective.